2006 Ford GT. I mean, the car just has so much presence, like we talked about in the drive. It just looks so great. You can see the nostrils here, the fuel door. This is how you open it here, by the way. People sometimes they look in the car everywhere, look for the fuel door. It's right there. The Brembo brakes there. So this car, like I said, has the BBS wheels, the aero package, and the stripes, and the Macintosh radio. Those are the options that they put on it. Excuse me. Factory exhaust. You can see here the blower through the window. The ripple almost touched the glass, so that was pretty crazy. But yeah, guys, I mean, it's pretty insane looking car. It looks amazing, it looks crazy, and the amount of respect to get on the road is insane as well. People just giving you thumbs up all the time. And let's see what size tires these are. So these are 345/35. So that's why we had all the traction in the world. We got the engine right here, holding up over the rear tires, pushing them in, and we got some 345 section tires to push it into the road. So there's the stripes and everything, guys. So like I said, I mean, just an amazing experience. The car drives great, it looks great. It's a supercar, the first American supercar. So we'll get to the driving impressions here shortly. We did a walk around, but I want to go ahead and show you like the storage compartment area. So not much room under there, as you can see. I mean, you're kind of limited to maybe a Ziploc bag with your toothbrush in it. So you got that going on. Back here, I think there's some cool things to point out. So like every cylinder has 2 injectors. I think that's pretty cool, just personally. The dry sump oil system over there. You got the oil filter here. Really big factory muffler, and there's really not much exhaust on this car. So it comes out of the head right there, and then it's got goes to the muffler both sides. So like I said, not a whole lot of exhaust going on. The tires are monsters, 345, as we covered already. So like I said, guys, car is amazing. 5W50, so I know you got to look around for that. That's an interesting oil. The supercharger, so this is a unique supercharger. It's Lysol supercharger. It's not an Eaton. It's unique to this car, so that's pretty cool. But yeah, guys, hopefully you enjoyed the walk around and get to the driving review. All right, guys, this is the inside of the GT. It's really surreal right now. So it's a lot smaller than it is in what I expected it to be in pictures, but man, it's just a nice dash layout. This right here is my iPhone holder, made in heaven. Ford was definitely thinking of me when they put those switches there. Nice passenger compartment, everything like that. So behind me, you could literally see the engine just whirring away behind me. So that's really cool. But we're about to go for a drive, so that's going to be the most exciting part. All right, guys. So we are off and away in the Ford GT. It's crazy. So yeah. So first impressions, the steering feels amazing, and I haven't even taken a corner. Like I've literally just pulled out of the driveway. Feels great. The clutch is easy. Shifter feels easy. I mean, other than it being insanely wide, especially in the rear, I mean, and it's quiet with the factory exhaust. It's factory exhaust, right? Yep, so yeah. I mean, it's super quiet. Which way you want to go?
Go left out here. Yeah.
Throttle tip in's a little aggressive, but
yeah.
Nothing they can't get used to. So you really like. So if I remember correctly, these cars have really, really long gears. So yeah. I mean, first should go all the way to 60 plus. So driving around the neighborhood, you know, normally that means, you know, you're bucking and surging around, but in this car, you're really not. I think the second thing, now that we've moved more than a couple hundred yards, is it's actually stiff. Like, it actually feels great. Like, the chassis is rigid, and I mean, you can feel everything we're rolling over, every single thing. You can tell exactly like what brand these stones are right now. Yeah. Like, right? I mean, it's super stiff. So this car has all 4 options. It's got the stripes, it's got the Macintosh radio, the BBS wheels, and the aero kit. So that's awesome. So this is a loaded car. It's 06, right?
Yeah, 06.
Yeah, so this car is a 2006. So obviously they only made them for 2 years. So this is the later of the 2 model years that they made it. Forgive me, I'm feeling it out as I'm talking to you guys here. Shifter feels great. It just feels immense. Like, I feel like I have the power of Thor under my foot. The supercharger, like, it just instant power, right?
Yeah.
I mean, little second gear, get on a little bit. Oh yeah, it sounds great. I mean, there's so much torque. Like, I literally haven't gone over like 2,700 RPMs, and like we're moving at a decent clip. So this light gets stopped up back here.
Yeah, I mean,
you got it.
Yeah.
Okay, gotcha.
With the 45 real quick and do a little.
So, driving your heroes, guys. I mean, it's crazy. So, this car is a 06. So, there are some things around it that don't look as new anymore, but it sits inside most of the time, right?
Yeah.
So, I mean, it's not like crazy. The paint still looks new and everything like that. There's a couple like plastic things, like that around the car. Nothing abnormal whatsoever. The interior is really unique. They got the carbon fiber accents in here, which I don't believe is factory, right?
No, it's all aftermarket, but yeah. It looks cooler.
Yeah, but it looks better. For a second, then I put you back upside down. So there's a lot of torque, and I need to get a GoPro and suction cup. I know, especially for these one of a lifetime drives like this. But anyway, yeah. So the car feels like you just have so much confidence. Like you've got brakes for days, you've got power for days, you've got grip for days. Like it's really confidence inspiring from being behind the wheel. Shifter feels great. Still getting used to the clutch, but I mean I think my learning curve is over. I mean it's real not bad to get used to. I think if this was my personal car, it would need to be louder.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. We'd have to straight pipe this son of a gun. But actually, once you get into it a little bit, you can actually hear the blower right behind your ear, and then you get some V8 grumble behind it. Probably want a little bit, like we were just talking about, probably some more exhaust noise, right? I think for our liking, right? Most people, it takes you till you're 85, 90 years old to get enough money to buy this thing, but so they probably don't care to have it that much louder. But I've heard a couple of them on YouTube with like headers and like a Ford Racing exhaust, and it's crazy, right? So but guys, I mean, it's just crazy being in here. Everywhere you look, there's just car. Like, so the front isn't that wide. It kind of looks like this as I'm looking out from the driver's seat. The back is what I'm actually trying to be mindful of, because the fenders, they flare out so much. What do you know what size tires are on the back? Like 335s or something like that.
We're just putting tires on.
Yeah,
the
so
tintas, like that, they're pretty good.
Yeah, so it's got some 335s. It's got some meat back there. So, those fenders, they flare out pretty decently. But driving a mid-engine car is awesome as well. Like, everything's going on behind you, right?
Yeah.
Like, it's a different sensation with the cars, like pushing you, like when the engine's behind you. I mean, if it's rear drive, it's pushing you regardless. But I think you understand what I'm saying. Like, it's a different sensation whenever the engine's behind you. So give me 1 second. I think we're going to switch views while we're over here in traffic. We live in Houston, one of the nation's fourth largest city, and the traffic is really bad. But I think that's actually highlighting this vehicle's livability. I mean, I am not uncomfortable. The AC's blowing super cold. The clutch isn't bad. I can, maneuver however I want. I mean, I can drive like a BMW driver in here, and it's whatever, right? So, looks like we're coming to a light. But I think, like I said, I think that really highlights this vehicle's, everyday usability. I mean, it's not like it doesn't have a dual clutch, but it doesn't need it. The gears are so long. In traffic, you only really need first and second. You don't need to keep going up through the gears. You can just leave it in second and get up to speed limit, slow back down. I mean, you can do whatever you need to do. So that's really nice. The suspension is, like I said, stiff, but it's not overbearing. Like, I feel everything I'm rolling over, but once you look out over the hood and you see those racing stripes, and you look behind you and you see that supercharger pulley just sitting right behind your right ear, the ride, when you start to realize what you're in, I mean, the ride is not bad at all. You guys might make fun of me for this, but I actually came in flip-flops and not the best driving shoes, but I took them off, and I'm kind of doing barefoot thing now, which actually I heard was illegal a couple different places. So if you know the laws behind that, leave it in the comments. That's interesting. But nevertheless, we're getting thumbs up everywhere from people. Got a nice rev from a Mustang fan back there, so that's nice. Yeah, we're just sitting here in traffic, and hopefully we'll get a little bit of room to kind of have a little bit of, get a nice little pull in. But man, the car just feels docile. It's not the GT500 we reviewed. This car feels a little bit stiffer, but this car is quieter in comparison. It's not cammed, so it idles like butter. So sitting here doing this is not bad at all. So give him a little rev. give him a little rev for his appetite. He's got his phone out his window. So the other thing about this is presence, right? So like, while you could run from the cops in this, they're gonna see you a mile away, right? I mean, you got these, like, this red, which is like not like this FRS red in front of us. We'll do a walk around here in a little bit, but it's not like this FRS red. It's red. It's racing red, and with the white stripes and everything, it sticks out like a sore thumb. In the shape of it, it just has so much presence on the road, and that's what's really nice about having a supercar. I mean, Ford definitely didn't short its customers that wow factor that you get with supercars, from this time period. So that's awesome. The gauges are really retro. I really like that. So the speedo's over here, the tach's right in front of you, the temp's right in front of me on my left. I got a boost gauge from the factory, so that's pretty cool. These switches are super retro as well, but like they don't feel like, so if you have like an S550 Mustang, well, newer generation Mustang, feel really similar to that. So if you have one of those, you kind of see how it is. I haven't had a chance to listen to the radio yet, but I mean, guys, for the time period that it was in, I think what do these cost new? They sticker new about
150-ish.
Yeah, about 150-ish. I mean, for the time, I mean, because you're going up against Ferrari, right? You're going up against Lamborghini, some high-end SLs, Mercedes, like a 6.5 or 6.3. So I mean, with that price point, this in my opinion is probably arguably the first American supercar, and I think Ford did an excellent job with it. And sorry about the traffic. We right now I'm really getting a lesson in its everyday usability. But I mean, the car itself, guys, it's awesome. You never forget what you're in. Just because it's easy to drive, it doesn't lose its specialness. It doesn't lose its character, I think is the word that I would use. So let's see. That's about what I have to say as far as moving slowly. All right, guys. So still got some traffic, but we got a little more room. Yeah. So what's nice about the blower is there's no surprises. It's linear. So when you get in it, you're not going to hit VTEC and then spin off the road. But the torque is insane. So these gears, I'm still in second. These gears are so long. But yeah, the torque is immense. Like you could, I think I've heard Jeremy Clark say jumpstart planet Earth, you kickstart a planet, something like that. That's about what you feel like. It's third gear. That's fun. And the speedo goes to 220, so even though it's still at 9 o'clock, 7 to 9 o'clock, you're still moving like a lot. So we got a little bit more open road up here, and then we're gonna go ahead and head back. But guys, this is an experience right here. Like, just because so don't get me confused when I'm saying here, just because it's easy to drive does not mean it doesn't feel special or fast. So this car, when it came out, was rated at 550 horsepower. Oh, there's an Aventador. Day of the supercar. Yeah, so so as I said, it was rated at 550 horsepower, and it feels every bit as strong over 10 years later. It feels very strong still. And like I said, it's that torque, that blower, it just makes it feel like a larger naturally aspirated engine with a bad power steering pump, right? You can hear that noise. But it's so smooth and linear, and there's no delays or surprises, the car's huge. It feels huge. We were just talking about it off camera. You know, it feels bigger than it is. So, you know, that's one of the things. See if we can do a U-turn. Check out the turning radius. Not great. We're not going to make that U-turn, so we're just going to pull in here. So, anyway, as I was saying, so yeah, the power band feels super linear. There's, you know, this car actually, fun fact about this car is it had a Whipple on it. It had a Whipple supercharger. I think it looked like a 2.9 or maybe a 3.2. I don't know exactly, but you have to pull up.
No, just pull it all the way over. It's a hard little.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, putting that into reverse is an experience. But I understand because you don't want to do that on accident.
Yeah.
So, so yeah, the car. So yeah, so as I was saying, the car, it's got a really nice power band, and with that Whipple on it, you know, we were kind of comparing it to the GT500 review, which I'll put in the description for you to check out, which has an updated version of this motor. And it's with the Whipple, you know, it literally makes the same power, just the curves just shifted up. So you literally get, no, I'm sorry, it makes the same power curve. It made a lot more power, just to be fair. But yeah, so it made the same power curve, but it's just higher, right? So, and you look at the dynos on these cars with aftermarket superchargers or what have you, that's basically what you find. You know, the power curve is the same. It's just lifted up a couple hundred horsepower, a couple hundred foot-pounds. The twin turbo kits for these cars are insane, but super laggy. So you get that surprise factor, but you gain a lot of power. Don't get me wrong. I think a guy in a Ford GT actually still holds a standing mile record. So I mean, a lot of power, great aerodynamics, but laggy nonetheless. And driving this one stock is actually nice because you can actually go back in time and literally be like in the seat, but back in 2005, back in 2006, and experience that thrust. And back then, guys, you got to remember the Enzo. What was the Enzo made, like what, 650?
Yeah. So
I made 100 horsepower more for like more than twice as much money. Sorry, when you drive in a supercar, you still look even though the light's green. Yeah, so she's still alive and well. So yeah, so that was all the way to Redline, and power never fell off. Power is all the way to Redline, comes in strong in the mid-range. It's actually nowhere like even so I drive, so with the N54, you know, it's rated at, it's got those itty bitty turbos, and it's rated at you know, 1400 RPM with peak torque. I know I'm comparing supercar to BMW, but forgive me, give me a second. But even with that, you know, rating at 1400 RPMs with peak torque when it was stock, you get a little bit of lag on tip in. So even though you tip in a little bit, and you still get a little bit of a lag. Still getting used to that throttle tip in. It's really aggressive at first. With the supercharger, there's literally nowhere that the engine feels like it's not ready to go. Like there's always power. The chassis feels really rigid, like I talked about earlier. Even going around the corners, you can feel like how high the limits are. Now this car doesn't have traction control, doesn't have stability control, it doesn't have performance traction management. So you know, your right foot is your traction control, your right foot and your two hands are your stability control, right? You know, with the manual transmission and all those things being true, you are in control of what the car does. You're in control of the way the car corners, you know, how much grip, you're at the limit. So, you know, there's no computers to save you. And that's another thing that's really nice about this car is the analogness, if you will. You can literally do whatever you want. You don't have to be like, oh, I want to do a burnout, so now I got to do, you know, flip this switch 3 times, enter my passcode on my phone, and flip the rearview mirror back into, you know, dim mode. You know, you just literally dump the clutch. You do 4,000 RPMs, dump the clutch, and there's your burnout. You don't have to, you know, worry about those things. Now, some would argue safety, sure, whatever, but you know, they're hopefully, you know, get past these people. BMW driver in me. But as I was saying, I mean, you're in control of your experience. You don't have to ask the car or put the car in different modes or flip it around to do what you want. And I think in a supercar, I kind of like that. I really like that. Now, are dual clutch transmissions faster? Yes, but like I said, guys, for the convenience, for the people that are, city driving, dual clutch is more better for city driving. Yes and no. I mean, getting started in this one's is still easy, but like I said, the gears are so tall you don't even use. Like, we have not been in fourth gear today. This first time being in fourth gear. So I mean, like, you're not shifting a lot. And yes, the dual clutch is faster, but guys, this is like an experience. Like, you buy a supercar for the experience. There's very few people out there that have the ability, that have the skill set to wring out the most of the car, to the extent that the transmission becomes a liability. So that being said, guys, this review has been awesome. I mean, the car's great. The brake pedal is stiff. Here's a turn. I mean, very little body roll. Sorry. Very little body roll. And the other thing I think I haven't talked about that's really nice with this car, as I mentioned, it doesn't have traction control. I haven't spun the tires once. There's been no tire spin. I've matted it in first gear, matted it in second gear, and third gear, and there's been no tire spin. Now with the Whipple, I'm sure that was a different story. But with the factory power, there's really no. I mean, like I said, there's really no need for it. Now, granted, it's dry and hot, but I mean, like I said, it didn't spin the tires once. And driving a high horsepower car, that's the first for me. To where you got so much traction available. So looks like we're back, guys. We're definitely. All right, guys, this is the conclusion of our 2006 Ford GT review. I want to go ahead and thank Harrison for letting us drive one of his 3 Ford GTs, truly an iconic American supercar. I've been waiting 10 plus years to drive this car. It's one of my hero cars, personal hero cars. So it really meant a lot to be able to go ahead and get a review on here, get some content for you guys. If you have any questions or anything, feel free to leave them in the comments. And stay tuned for a video I'm going to release after this. It's going to be called Should the New Ford GT Have Had a V8? So we're going to talk about that. So definitely stay tuned for that. But other than that, guys, thanks for watching. Please like, comment, and subscribe, and let us know if there's anything else you would like to see. Take care, guys. Thanks for watching.